Well, let's speak now to Yaniv Rosnai, who is a law professor at the Rubinstein Center for Constitutional Challenges at Reichman University and a member of the Israeli Law Professors Forum for Democracy. Thanks for joining us. So looking at just the size of those protests in Tel Aviv, it's obvious how much opposition there is to this. Of course, there's concern about undermining democracy, but tell us also about that concern about nationalist and ultra-Orthodox party elements. How does that play into this?
Well, the entire aim behind this so-called reform is to grant the government, our executive authority, absolute powers to do whatever they want. And of course, this then connects to the various parties in the coalition, the Orthodox and the other parties who wish to further the annexation of the territories. So I think this is all related. I think that the main problem, and this is why you see all these hundreds of thousands of people in the streets, is that the government, even though they passed one package of this so-called reform so far, the government is continuing to say that this is merely the amuse-bouche for the rest of the reform. The problem is that we, the citizens, are the buffet, and they plan afterwards to change the way judges are selected, and then to undermine the role of the Attorney General, and then perhaps to limit further judicial review. So we do not see the end to this so-called reform, and that is what worries many of us here in Israel.
If we look at the argument the government is making, what is the alleged imbalance in power that they're seeking to correct? Because they say that the Supreme Court has had outsized powers in limiting what is possible to do politically.
I think that our court is indeed quite a strong court in comparative perspective. It has strong authorities of judicial review. We have very broad standing, so every person can go directly to the High Court of Justice. Nonetheless, two things are important to mention in that respect. One, the court in the last years has been extremely restrained in exercising this power. Just to give you an example, in the last 30 years, the court has invalidated 23 provisions of laws. That's it. It is almost nothing in comparative terms. But more importantly, it is important to understand that in Israel, the government already has quite a lot of powers because we have extremely flexible mechanisms of checks and balances. Unlike other countries, we have no rigid constitution. We don't have two houses in parliament. We are not a federal system. We don't have constituencies. And we are not subordinated to the European Court of Human Rights or other supranational institutions. So already the court and the Attorney General are the only bodies that can, in effect, check governmental powers. And this is precisely why the government wants to weaken them.
Okay, that's a good analysis to have. Thank you very much, Yaniv Rosnai, joining us there. Yaniv is a member of the Israeli Law Professors Forum for Democracy.